Hello everyone, it's Raza von Werder from the University of Mother God Church. And I'm talking now, this is part 2 of how I got de-virginized. I tried to tell you last video, but I ran out of time. Okay, so I was hanging around in this bar, this gay bar, where I was infatuated with the guitar player. And one day I got stinking drunk. I mean, stinking. Just on beer. As I remember, and you know, but I probably had a lot of them, and probably one of the guys that worked there was buying it for me because I had very little money. In fact, before I get to the de-virginized part, the manager was a mafia guy, the manager or owner, I don't know what he was, and I'm going to tell you that. I got to tell you that story. When you In those days, $1 was like $5 today, I believe. So, you know, each beer was $5. And then they had little tables. They had an area where you had little tables. And these bitches conned me. They invited me to sit with them at a table, which I didn't know that as soon as you sat down at a table, you had to pay $5 for the sitting at a table. I didn't know that. So $5 would be like $25, and I probably had $1 or $2 on me, if that. I think I was one of the guys who worked there kept giving me $1 for beer at one night. I remember one night. Sometimes I had a couple bucks, or sometimes people would buy me drinks. I had very little money at the time. So one night when I was leaving, the manager says, "Where's my $5 for you sitting at a table?" I said, "Huh? I don't have $5. I didn't do anything. I just sat with these bitches at the table, and now I owe $5, which is like $25 today. I don't have the money." And so he says, "You are a cunt." Now me, I'm from Europe, and when guys call us names like that, you slap them. So I slapped him. I slapped a mafia guy. He took his fist and he punched me in the solar plexus with all his might. And I was almost passed out. And the guys that worked there grabbed me and held me and helped me walk away. But I could not catch my breath. I've never been hit in the solar plexus before or since. And you cannot imagine what it feels like. You cannot breathe. You cannot get a breath for a while. I don't know how long. You cannot get a breath. It's scary. So that was what this place was like. There was good stuff, there was bad stuff. Well, anyway, so one night I was stinky drunk. And Jimmy G, or Joey G, I can't remember the name, Joey G or Jimmy G, whatever, Joey, let's say Joey G, because Jimmy reminds me of my evil brother. So Joey G and his band, they take me somewhere, and they take me to a hotel. And I remember I could hardly walk. I could hardly stand. They had to hold me. His friends had to hold me, but each by my arm. I was so drunk, I could hardly walk. And I remember the manager. That was way back in the day when they were repressed. This is way back. This is 1961. And they were very repressive in those days, and you almost had to prove you were married to somebody before you checked in with somebody. It was amazing, amazing. And I remember him, this old guy, he was an old guy, I remember him saying to Joey G, "Is this your wife?" And Joey G says, "Yes." He was very reluctant to give him a room with me, but he gave him the room. Salute. Gave him the room. The other guys let go of my arms. Joey took me up to the room. And I remember when he did it to me, he broke the hymen. It felt like a knife was going into my vagina. It felt like a knife going in and out. A knife, a knife, a knife, a knife, a knife. Because my skin was now broken. I don't know how he did it. I don't know how he did it. But he was Italian. So, gotta give credit to the Italians. When I woke up, he had a pillow under my rear end. The pillow was soaked in blood. And he says, "Did you have your period?" And I go, "No. No." Now, here's the sad part. I was infatuated with him. He had just done it to me, and I was in pain. But I was so infatuated, I want to see him again. And he lied, and he pretended he was going to have a date with me the next day. And we made a appointment for meeting at this restaurant somewhere. And I thought he was going to do it. I thought he was going to be there. And, of course, the next day when I went there, he was not there. Then later, when I spoke to someone else in his band, the guy told me he was married with children in upstate. And he would, when he did go back to his home, he had to take a train back to somewhere, I don't know where it was, either upstate New York or New Jersey or something or whatever. And of course there was nothing else happened. He took my virginity and that's all. Nothing else. So it's sad. And to give you a parallel to that experience, after I had been celibate, when I was celibate from 1978 to 2008. After I had been celibate for 30 years, I hung around in the bars in Binghamton, which is in my area. It's not too far from me. Salute. In Lithuanian, we say "Isveikata" or "sveikas." "Isveikata" means to your health, and "sveikas" means be healthy. Sveikas, be healthy. Sveikas is health. To your health. Sveikas. So anyway, 30 years I was celibate for the love of God. 30 years, from 1978 to 2008. And I was at this bar in Binghamton, JT's it's called. And it was a Thursday, I believe, so they closed at 1 a.m. And I met this drop-dead gorgeous, hunky, fit guy, buff, they called him. The girls told me that guy was buff. He was like 6 foot tall, real thin, at 170 or 70 at the most, very thin and handsome, gorgeous. And he said to me, "What time do they close here?" I go, "Oh, they close at 1 o'clock." And it was 1:45. He go, "Well, what are we doing here? Let's go." I had not had sex in 30 years. I go, "Okay." So I drove him to my house. It was far away, 25 miles. And we had sex. He couldn't get it in. And I couldn't remember how to do sex. It had been 30 years. I couldn't remember how to do anything. I think I did fellatio, pretty sure. Yeah, of course I did. Of course, of course. God, thank God he only had a 6-inch dick. Thank God. My lady friend told me, you better get a guy with a small one in order to do, because I know a lot of these old ladies, after their husband hasn't done it for a long time, and they get Viagra and they nail them, and they're hurting for days. I said, no, 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 I'm getting a guy with a big one. I like big ones. She go, no, no, don't do that, don't do that. And he had a 6-inch one, which is average. 6 inches or 5 3/4 inches is average. And I was hurting for days. But anyway, to make a long story short, I think I'm gonna have to do this to the next, to be continued. Next one to be continued.